Hey guys, so today I have swatches of the CND English Gardens collection. There are 6 polishes here altogether. These came from beyondpolish.com, so I will link that website down below. CND is not a brand whose nail polishes I've tried. They make my all-time favorite base coat, which is the CND Sticky, and has been for like years. But I've never actually tried their polishes, so this is a first for me. So 6 colors here, and I will get into the swatches. So the first polish is called Lady Lilly, and this is a just barely off-white, slightly jelly polish. This one is sheer on that first coat. It is a jelly. I guess if this actually had glitter in it, I would call it acrylic, but since it doesn't have glitter in it, and it's a sheer white, it looks like a jelly to me. It is fairly even. It's not streaky at all. At least that first coat on that first nail wasn't. And the formula is pretty good on this one. I do think it's a little bit thin for me, but I also just started the swatches, so I think I'll probably get used to that really quickly. And if you see any like excessive streakiness on my ring and pinky finger, those are some giant ridges that have been growing in on my nails over the last few months that I just don't know how to beat. So this one does start to build up on that second coat, but it is still a bit sheer. I am trying to do really light, gentle brush strokes to make sure that I don't dig in too much and make it more uneven than it would have been otherwise. I am not achieving that goal. So this one does build up a bit better on that third coat. I am still really trying to float my brush across the top of it. I think I will still have some very minor streaks when this is all said and done though. So I do still have some streaks looming, but that is 3 coats of Lady Lilly. The next polish is called Magical Topiary, and this is a kind of minty green. This one is pretty opaque on that first coat. It's not quite a one-coater, but it is pretty close. And I'm going to cut that crazy bristle off. Just a few streaks in here, but those are kind of leveling themselves out after I take the brush off my nail. And pretty good formula on this one. I still feel like it's a little bit thin for me, for what I prefer, but I don't think it's too thin. I'm getting used to it as I go. So this one, it does cover completely in 2 coats. It definitely dries a bit darker than it applies. And this is a really solid 2-coater too, like it builds up really nicely. So that is 2 coats of Magical Topiary. The next polish is called Carnation Bliss, and this is a light kind of bubblegum pink cream shade. So this one also covers pretty nicely on that first coat. It's not a one-coater, but for being a light pink, it is doing a pretty good job. There are definitely some streaks. A lot of those do level themselves out. And same formula as the last polish, probably a little bit thin for my preference, but I don't think it's too thin. This did dry a little bit more sheer than it applied, but it does still cover completely in 2 coats. I don't think this one is as solid and reliable of a 2-coater as Magical Topiary was. I think I could see you needing 3 coats just depending on your application. I do feel like I'm even close to needing 3 coats. I'm pushing it a little bit. So that is 3 coats of Carnation Bliss. The next polish is called Soft Peony, and this is a slight, I wouldn't call it like a full-blown coral, but it's leaning in the coral direction. Here it is next to Carnation Bliss, so you can see the difference, which totally throws the camera off. So this is another one that is pretty decently opaque on that first coat. I've been saying that I feel like the formulas here are a little bit thin for my preference, but I am impressed with how opaque they are without being thick at all. And I'm also really getting used to that formula. It only took a few polishes. This one does cover completely in 2 coats. It does seem to dry a little bit darker than it applies. And I do think I like this color a lot more on my nails than I liked it in the bottle. I could see you needing 3 coats just depending on your application. I am still kind of fighting some streaks to keep it at 2 coats. So that is 2 coats of Soft Peony. The next polish is called Kiss from a Rose, and this is a medium pink cream. This one also covers pretty well on that first coat. Not many streaks in this one at all, or at least they level themselves out fairly well. And the formula is the same as it's been for most of the other polishes. I think that white in the beginning was a little bit thinner than the rest of them, but I am getting used to them. This one does cover completely on that second coat. This is another one that I think you might need 3 for streaks, just depending on your application if you push really hard. Or if you don't have enough polish on your brush, I could see there being some streaks that you might have to go back and fix with a 3rd coat, but I don't think it's super likely. That's probably just going to depend on the person. So that is 2 coats of Kiss from a Rose. And the last polish is called Flowerbed Folly, and this is it's a brown to me, but it does seem like it has a little bit of pink mixed into it. So this one is also very nicely opaque on that first coat. The first polish in this collection was a jelly, so obviously that one was a little bit sheer, but there really haven't been any issues with like nail line sheerness with these. They've just wanted to be a little bit streaky. Formula is the same on this one as all the other polishes. Have gotten totally used to it since I started, so it's not as jarring as it was before. I still think it's a little bit on the thin side for me, but I don't think it's too thin, like to the point where it's a flaw. This one does cover completely on that second coat. This seems to be a more solid two-coater like Magical Topiary was. I don't really think I could see too many issues with needing a third coat with this. Obviously, I can't predict everybody's way of painting their nails, but I think it's pretty solid for 2 coats. So that is 2 coats of Flowerbed Folly. You know I'm going to pick this awesome minty green. So Magical Topiary is my favorite. This is just my color. I'm not a huge fan of like the rosy pinks. I wear them on occasion, but they're not something that my eyes are really drawn to. This, on the other hand, this is my color. So that one is my favorite. So that is the CND English Gardens collection. Again, those came from beyondpolish.com, so I will link that website down below. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will talk to you later. Bye.